guys. I'd like to welcome with us today a very special guest on the Texas Arm Wrestling Lead podcast, the Pin Pad, episode number 4. We have with us today Mr. Robby Burnett. How you doing tonight, Robbie?
All good, man. How y'all doing?
Staying warm. We're staying warm. It dropped in cold tonight, so we're how about y'all? Is it
Yeah. I'm about to head to practice in about 30 minutes. So it's pretty damn cold though. Like I was telling you earlier, it's supposed to be 4 degrees here Monday. We're not used to that stuff.
I'll jump right into it then with our little lack of time there. We've got to witness some awesome arm wrestling from you over the years. We really appreciated it. And I know the fans really appreciate it. Tell me, how did you get started in arm wrestling?
I'm about like everybody else, just, started doing it young, just messing around. And we had a friend of the family who arm wrestled, not world top level, but he went to like state tournaments and stuff like that. And he was really good puller for his size because he's like 6'1", 6'2", weighed like 145. Tall, skinny guy, but had huge hands, had like heavyweight hands on him. And back in the day, the group of old timers in my area that was like the man, you could say, was like James Anderson and Wes Atkinson, and Lindley wasn't in our area, but Lindley, ever since I started, Lindley was like, he was the man to beat for a long time, But one of the guys was Jim Tambourine, and him and all them guys was like in the hub. They're all pretty close. They all trained together. And anyways, I had got off subject, but I just pulled, I watched that my buddy beat all these massive guys and got interested in it. And then from a young age, I could always beat the majority of people. And by 18, I turned 18 in February of 2003. And the following month, I had found a tournament out there, one of Michael Todd's tournaments. As a Fat Jack's Oyster Bar. It's closed down now. It was on Texarkana. Went to it and just, been doing it ever since.
What do you think led to you being just kind of natural or naturally good? Or
I actually, believe it or not, I believe bowling. When I was real little, we grew up like in a poor area. I often refer to it as a grain of salt and a pepper shaker, just because we was the only white people around. I mean, there was Mexican, black, and all that, but there weren't very many white people.
Sure.
So my mom was she knew my whole family's kind of got like a rough name, and she said, "Well, I'd rather have you doing something and staying out of trouble and not get killed." So we didn't live too far from a bowling alley, and she got us all to start bowling. And I mean, I'm probably 9 years old or something at the time, and I'm the youngest of 7. So anyway, she got us bowling, and from 9 to probably 16, we basically lived at bowling alley. We nonstop, I bet you we bowled 50, 60 games a week during that time frame and ever since I was probably 11 or so, 10 or 11, I threw 15, 16-pound balls. So I think that's what helped me develop righty, because my left is nowhere near the size of my right. And I think that's where I got a lot of my hand, wrist, forearm type. I'm doing that for years.
I could see that.
One of my brothers, stuck with it. I quit at 16, and one of my other brothers stuck with it. And he's a touring pro. He goes all over the country bowling now.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
What's the highest game you ever had?
289. I never shot 300.
That's solid, man. That's solid.
I was only 12 years old though.
Yeah, a lot of people don't know that I spent a lot of time growing up in a bowling alley too. My grandfather owned a bowling little alley down in Salmon, Idaho. Hey, Billy, welcome.
What's up?
So we're just introducing Robbie here a little bit and talking about how he thinks kind of starting off young bowling helped kind of prep him in some ways for his arm wrestling career.
Bowling. Yeah, I can see that.
Yeah.
And we always had a farm too, so we didn't have a huge farm, but even though we had a place in the city, we had a place in the country too. So I was always helping my dad with all the cows and fences and that type. You had your farm life type thing, then you go back home up to the city, and it's two totally different worlds when you go from being way out in the country to being, in Dallas.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. So you talked about Jim Tambourine and your first, tournament that you'd got involved in with there.
Hold on a second. So is that his name?
Yeah.
Is that his name?
He trained me and Lindley both whenever both of us first started.
It's Jim
Tambourine.
Now I know.
There's an answer to one of our.
Get a straight answer off that one.
Yeah.
He's still around. He don't pull no more, but he's still around though. He lives around the Forney area, east of Dallas.
Okay. Awesome. So, all right. So let's see. So you started very young, and man, that first tournament that you went to with Michael Todd, you say he ran that tournament up in Texarkana.
Yeah, it was in I think a State Line Avenue, Mid-South Regional. I can't remember the name of it, but yeah, that was the first one, March of 2003.
Tell me about some of the other exciting matches you've had over your career, or interesting anyway.
Oh man, I don't know.
How about the Tim Breslin match?
Well, there was a lot of controversy on that one. We got out there and me and Danny and I don't remember who all was there. I think Lindley was at that one, and it was at Atlantic City. I want to say 2014. And the only thing I had against it was whenever I took him over and flopped him, I had him almost pinned and he bailed out. Bart Wood says, we want you to pin to win in wall. If, for the matches, we like to see, somebody pin them. And they had us to go ahead and go on the strap, and Tim beat me in the strap. But what pissed me off was later on, and everything I'm saying right here, all the Louisiana guys was there. Dusty Coleman threw the biggest fit ever over this deal, because he was like, you would have thought they'd done it to him. He was bitching like crazy. But when you got further into it, and you had say Laird, Barbosa, all those guys pulling, every time they done the slip and losing position, they get the match to the guy pro. So then that's when it got me going. I'm like, man, what the hell? You give me that loss and it knocked me out. So I took 5th on that tournament in Atlantic City because of that bullshit call. So I was okay with it, Bart. If that was your rules, that's your rules. But now all of a sudden, it's all the Northeast guys, the big name guys in the finals, and everything is different story though. So that really got me off on the wrong foot with Wall. I started immediately seeing all the favoritism. Nothing against the pullers. If I have a match with Tim, for instance, and Tim wins, and that's not his fault, the ref done it. But after that, hell, Tim, I think he got sideways with Wall too. I don't think they liked him no more either. But they had a select group of guys that there's favoritism toward. And technically, like I told them, I said, these guys are good enough. They don't have to have help from me. That makes it a hell of a lot harder to beat a really good puller and then also beat the referee too.
Yeah.
Sure.
And they didn't want to see nobody coming from down here going up in the Northeast and, showing out and stuff. They didn't want to see that.
When you pulled Micah Yellow, was that with WAL or?
I pulled Micah several times. Every time I pulled him in WAL, he won. WAL, you get away with a lot more, and me and Mike's buddies. But, Mike likes to knife in big time. and I could not beat Mike inside. And we were basically starting in the hook every time. So every time I pulled him a wall, he kept getting me. But the moment we got straight, I'm like, man, I could feel that wrist, that wrist, I can take that. But I never could get his ass straight because they would always allow you to, start off knifed in, shoulder behind it, everything. So the last time we pulled at Mississippi State, and it wasn't wall, it was just the regular, whatever it is, USAA, whatever it was. And I beat Mike that time. I beat him twice, whatever. And the second time, actually, I think he was already tired, but it was inside in the championship when I beat him. But super good guy. I like him a lot.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. What about Wall? Do you think you'll ever pull with them again, or?
Man, every time I've had any dealings with them, I've kind of got shafted on it. Like I said, they have their group that they like to, kind of push, like they like to see them guys do good. And they don't, if you're not part of that group, they really don't like to see you, get up there and beat their guys because they're promoting these guys. Last thing they want to see is for somebody that they're not promoting on paper looks like a nobody, get out there and beat somebody like Michael, beat somebody like Devin. They don't want to see that. It hurts them.
And you're far from nobody, Robbie. You've been number one in the state of Texas for what's it been now? Has it been 12 years or?
I don't know. It was Lindley for a long time and kind of just passed over. But when I say nobody, this is how the charts is for me. After all the traveling, all the tournaments, the injuries, you name it. Paying dues for 20 years almost.
Yeah.
And then I won the Buffalo Wild Wings deal. I guess that's 2 years ago now because last year really didn't even count because it wasn't nothing. And they said whoever wins these qualifiers, we're going to guarantee you a match with Wall. So I won it. I won the one in Fort Worth. And I never heard nothing about it. So I guess 6-7 months goes by, something like that. And I didn't know who to ask. I'm like, what's going on here? Well, finally, I ain't gonna say who, but one of the wall pullers reached out to me and said, "Don't say who I am because I'm gonna get in trouble if you do." But here's this guy's name and number. He's actually the guy who sets the matches up, and this is the guy who doesn't arm wrestle. Don't know nothing about arm wrestling. He's just like a talent type thing. He looks on there and sees who he thinks will pull, I guess, the most views. You know what I'm saying? Like that type guy. But he don't really know. He's not nothing to do with arm wrestling. He don't even know arm wrestling, I guess.
Yeah.
And I think he's from England. His name is Jamie something. So I call this guy, and he has no idea who the hell I am, And I'm asking him, I was like, hey, what's going on? And he goes, well, to be honest with you, mate, we don't need nobody else. We're already locked in for whatever it is, if it's 600 or 700, I don't know what series they're on. But he goes, we're already in for the first 3, and we're currently in the middle of the 4th card. So better luck next year. And I said, well, hold on, fella. I won this thing, and I'm supposed to be guaranteed this match. Oh, those things? Yeah. We're going to do that later on. We haven't even talked about it just yet, who's going to, anything about it. But if you won one of those, we'll go ahead and do it. I'm sorry, I don't even know who you are. And I told him my name, and he goes, well, we'll figure it out. And I said, well, hold on, is it going to be an actual match, or is it going to be one of those undercards? And he goes, oh, you ain't getting a match. It'll be an undercard. I said, well, I don't want the damn thing anyways, then. Undercard matches, I don't know if you're familiar with it, but you travel across the country wherever they want you to go to, and you pay all your expenses. If you win $250. If you lose, either you don't get nothing or you might get $125. I don't know, but it's a really shitty deal because when you do that, they're trying to tell everybody, once you do this, you're going to grow and you'll get a better match. But I don't think anybody, I might be wrong, but I don't believe anybody who's had undercard match I don't believe they've even got a real match yet.
Wow.
And they use the undercard match to get people to log on. So when you get on that BR Live to watch, you can watch the undercard matches for free, but then when the actual tournament starts, you got to pay for it. So they're using those people to pull people in to get you buy it and rent it, whatever. And the only thing you get out of it is if you win, you get $250. Well, hell, you'd always spend $1,000 on your trip going. And when they told me that didn't interest me one bit.
Yeah.
Have you considered pulling at some of the other national and world events?
I was invited to the top 8 when they done the top 8, the first one, whatever. And I don't know who was messed up, but the guy's name's like a Kirill or something like that. Okay, it's a foreign name, so I'm going to murder it trying to pronounce it. But something Kirill or Krell or something. Anyways, they called me up and said, we're going to do one in, I think one was China, one was, I can't remember. It's one of them way the hell off places. And then the last one was supposed to be like Russia or Ukraine or something. That was supposed to be your last meet. But the issue was I've never left the country. I didn't have a passport. And and I couldn't get a passport in time, so they had to give my spot to somebody else. I believe they ended up giving my spot to that. I don't know if he's Asian or Chinese. The one that was on the top 8. I don't know his name. He's like a Chinese guy or Asian guy or something. I think he was the one that they gave my spot to. But that was an honor just to be, invited to it. I just couldn't get my passport in time.
Yeah. Have you resolved that? Have you gotten a passport?
I figured I wouldn't get no more chances like that, so I just left it alone.
Get your passport. We might get you something. We might be able to find you something.
That's a shame that you've gotten these opportunities and they've fallen through for whatever reason, and then through the experience through that, now you've got this feeling that was just kind of it. You know what I mean? That's I didn't through the process.
I never got too many chances. I'm not a big fat ass, but because I'm a very athletic type person, but I don't have the look, is what I call it. Like for instance, a Yellow's got the beach muscles. It don't matter how good he is or how bad he is. He can get a spot somewhere just because he's muscled up and all that. So I was overlooked a lot of times because I didn't have that. They told me I wasn't sellable. And then other places said, well, hell, I think that's a good thing because you relate more to average Joe type people, But most of the time I was told I wasn't sellable. You don't look the part, you don't this or that. It's because the big people like Wall, they don't really care as much about great art. It's more like entertainment, kind of like WWE type stuff. It's just entertainment more. People on there that's really, really good. Michael Todd's super good. They got him that don't deserve to be on there.
Can you hit mute? Sorry, thanks. Go ahead, Robbie.
Oh, I was saying that, they got really good pullers like Michael Todd, who by all means deserve to be whatever. But they got a lot of people that I feel like don't deserve the spot where other people does deserve the spot. And I'm not even saying I'm one of them that deserves it. I'm just saying in general, there's people that's overlooked that should be overlooked.
Yeah. Do you think that happens to or has happened to other Texas pullers?
I can't just single out one person, but
or maybe it's a Southern thing.
Well, I'll tell you one that was overlooked for a while, but it seems like he's starting to get a little more attention. Was Wayne Withers. Me and Wayne talk a lot. For the longest, both of us was just like, fuck, you don't never hear nothing about us. And Wayne's a good puller, but he's finally starting to get a little bit more attention, I guess you could say. I know every time I've ever had gone into a match, I've been in those mega matches. There was multiple people involved in them, and every time I've ever done anything, they had me the crazy underdog. It could be people that I knew I could just demolish, and they'd put like one of those poles out there, and man, I would be like, I'd be like the dark horse or something. I mean, I'd be so far down that, and I'm always shaking my head like these lying asses.
Yeah. What are you currently ranked on in the hook? Do you know?
I was seventh. I don't know what they've changed, but I was seventh.
Seventh in North America, right?
Yeah.
Okay.
They may have changed it though, because I haven't looked at. I really don't look at that stuff that often, just because there's that could change by the day. Whoever's 2 or 3, they could lose to the 8th or 9th or 10th guy.
Yeah.
The rankings are cool to have, but it looks on paper like this guy's way better than this guy, and that's not always the case.
Sure. Is there anybody that you kind of would like to pull anytime soon in the near future, or been thinking about?
I haven't
Or
been
somebody
thinking
from the
about it.
past?
I
Maybe
really
somebody.
haven't. Yeah, I really haven't been thinking much about it, to be honest. Like I told you, the other day, just I ain't had that drive in a long time, man. I started to hang it up and quit several times, and if it was just me, I didn't have a team, I probably already would have, because it's easier that way. But when you have a team that's always, trying to get you to do things and all that, it kind of motivates you. But I got to the point the last 3 or 4 years that I get more fun out of going and watching my guys pull than I do me competing myself.
Yeah.
Especially the guys the newer ones that really, really want to pull, that's not just wasting your time. I like watching them develop and do. I mean, you kind of feel like you have a little bit to do with when they do that.
Who do you have coming up out of the Dallas area there that's a new guy that you think's a rising star?
I believe we got a new guy named Shane, and he's having some issues right now, a few health issues, but he's a small guy, 165-ish. I believe he's got a good future if he wants to stick with it.
Wow.
We got a new puller that just moved here from, I want to say, Oregon. And he's not new, but he's new to this area. And I think he's got a super match coming up with somebody, Joseph.
With Jake, right? He's
Oh,
pulling
is that
my
your
son.
son?
Yeah,
Oh, okay. I didn't read the flyer. I just saw that he had one. I think he's got a good chance at it, at doing something. He's a little guy too. I think he's like 165 or so. He's not real big.
I think he was a firefighter or something over there, wasn't he? Or
I'm not for sure. I think he told me I don't know what he does, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well, it'll be interesting to see that match. I know it's Jake's first, defense of any kind of rankings match, and he's pretty excited about it. And he's been doing well, man. He's been giving me fits already, and he's only 18 and 175 pounds or whatever. So
Okay.
But yeah. What do you got, Billy?
Did y'all talk about Corey West yet?
No.
So you had to back out of that match you had for TAL2, right?
Yeah. Well, there was multiple things going on that deal.
If you don't feel comfortable.
December 2nd, I believe. Something like that, December 2nd or 3rd. It was early December.
Yeah.
And man, in all honesty, I've been fighting this shoulder injury for a while. But I told the Jeff Frank that I would do it anyways. And then on Thanksgiving, late Thanksgiving night, my wife's mom died.
Mm-hmm.
So then she's been going back and forth with cancer and stuff. And but she died on Thanksgiving night. And then my wife lost her license. And you couldn't get in nowhere. None of the DMVs, you had to make appointments. And they said they didn't have no appointments for like sometime 2021. So I made it to where I couldn't leave because it was a weekend of my wife's anniversary. So I'm like, injury, her mom died, she lost her license, our anniversary, what am I going to do?
The whole
tried.
list of things. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Well, how did,
Wayne,
I mean, go ahead.
I was gonna say Wayne had told me he's been wanting to pull Corey, and he was supposed to pull Corey in Arkansas. I want to say in May of this year, and maybe April. I don't know, but anyways, I said, Wayne, how are you feeling? Do you feel like you're good to go? He goes, yeah, I feel good. Why? I said, well, you want to switch with me? You want to pull Corey in this one, and me pull Corey in Arkansas? And he goes, if they'll do it, I'm ready. I feel good. I'm ready. So I switched with Wayne. I just gave the match to him, and it didn't work out too good for Wayne. But anyways, I gave the match to him, and I was supposed to pull him in Arkansas, and I believe they end up canceling that tournament. I haven't heard from anybody, but I thought that Jeff guy said he was having issues getting over here, that they changed the that whole quarantine. If you come across, you got to stay 14 days in quarantine or something. So,
Yeah. When the presidential, when it finally came through and the new administration took over, I think Canada and the US put those restrictions on where you had to quarantine coming in and going out. And
yeah.
We're dealing with that right now with Uncle John. And he was supposed to come down for Waxahachie, Travis's event down in Waxahachie in March. And he just can't do it because he'd have to come here, quarantine for 14 days, then do the thing. And then when he went back, he'd have to quarantine again. So
March 27th, right, Billy?
yeah, March 27th. But so had that all not happened and you'd have pulled Corey that day, how do you think you would have, like, what was your thoughts about that match going into it?
Man, I don't really know. I probably wouldn't have done good against him, honestly.
Yeah.
Well, we moved from the city out here to our farm, and we moved in October, and I hadn't, let's see, October, so it was like August, or I think around late August. I hadn't been to the gym. I still haven't been to the gym. I just go over and train, 1 or 2 days a week over at Danny's house. So I hadn't trained in months. I would have probably got my ass handed to me, honestly. But who knows? I mean, maybe not. I think my style, and obviously it's just my opinion, I think my style would give Corey fits, where Wayne's style will give a lot of people fits, but not Corey, for instance. The way Wayne pretty much just drops down and does his little straight over deal, if you contain it, it's bad for Wayne. That's how, like, a Yellow and them guys always beat Wayne. He rolls out, just as he starts to roll out like here, as soon as he gets there, he's on his bicep. They just press him down or whatever.
Yeah.
So he even though he moves very effective, Wayne style, if you can stop it, he's at a very weak position to be in my opinion. Where if I pulled someone like Corey, I wouldn't even think about trying to hit. I wouldn't think about trying to go into his hand, any of that stuff. I would be more like a run, be coming back to try to get that little extension, and the wrist to kind of separate it a little bit. And he might beat me anyways, but I would definitely put him a different way. And like I said, Wayne's is a good friend. And I told Wayne, I was like, man, I don't know what the hell he was thinking, but it appeared to me he pulled him the same way over and over. And I wouldn't pull the same way over and over. I'd have to change something up. But it was just a bad day, that day for Wayne, and hopefully he comes back and, wins the next time.
Now, is that a match that you would kind of look forward to in the future, or is that just something that was kind of random that brought up by T?
What's that?
Corey.
Oh my goodness, man! I ain't never, between Corey and Underwood, I cannot tell you how many times in the last year and a half or so that they have picked different promoters and organizations that's called me, want me to get those matches. Will you pull Corey? You pull Corey. And at the time, Corey hadn't pulled all, like he's doing now.
Yeah.
And I saw nothing against Corey, but I kind of like to pull people who are, like ranked higher than me, and, people like that. Just
Yeah.
because it's like a lose-lose. If you beat somebody who's unknown, who cares? You lose to somebody unknown, you look bad.
Okay.
You don't really gain nothing. It's like a lose-lose for it. It's
Yeah.
not that you're scared of pulling them people, but why do it with you don't get money, you don't get no recognition. It just seems like not a good match.
Yeah.
And Underwood is at one time was one of the best in the world, but whatever happened, and he's just not what he was, at that time. But he's been blowing me up to want to pull me.
Well, he's kind of coming back, isn't he? Like,
Yeah,
trying
he seems
to
to be a
get
lot
back in.
more back. But I remember him back when he was one of the top guys, though.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but neither one of them was ranked nowhere near me at the time when they were wanting to do that. And so, man, to be honest with you, like I was wanting to pull Shafee again, and and me and Dave's been friends a long time, but I'd still like to pull his big ass.
Yeah, definitely. I guess it looks like he's getting ready to get another shot or get a shot at Levon.
Maybe.
Well, I tell you, Dave and Richard Lupke's is probably the strongest guys you'll ever hook up with, just strength wise.
Yeah.
Not the greatest technical. They're not the greatest technical pullers and any of that, but just strength wise, them guys are crazy strong.
Yeah, definitely. Definitely.
Well, I guess anybody else that you had thought of, or is that kind of about it? Those,
As far as me wanting matches or thinking about matches, no. If I see somebody come along and they just start demolishing people, I'll like to pull that person. I kind of have that mindset. I'm more prone to lose to somebody who ain't really nothing than I am to somebody really good. It's almost like you have to try when that guy comes on, and it's like getting ready for a tournament. If I go in there and I'm just like whatever, I'm subject not to do good at that tournament. If I go in there, my stomach's killing me, and I, instead of using the bathroom, I use to perform for that tournament because it's like you have to step up for that tournament.
You mentioned you get together with Anthony and Danny there, and some of your teammates on a pretty regular basis. Any advice for new clubs? We've got several new clubs in the state that are forming and building, and what would you say to some of these new pullers and the guys that are trying to make new teams happen? Any advice for them?
I would just say I ain't gonna tell you don't let certain people pull with you, but when somebody comes in and all they want to do is just slam on you, I wouldn't even want to mess with them. There's so many times where somebody, Anthony or different ones, would be like, I have this problem. Well, that whole day we're going to work on that, and if the next time I run onto them, they need it, we'll work on it again. And that's what we do. We try to help one another if we're having something go on. And if you have somebody's got that ego problem, they want to slam on you, they want to try to hurt you, get away from that guy. He ain't no good for you.
It's it's good that you say that, because there are a lot of the social media thing is really big right now, and a lot of clubs are posting practice videos and stuff. And I hadn't been in the sport long, but one thing I learned from the time I started to now, as I got stronger within the club that I'm in, I spend all day getting beat up on, because there's no point in pulling through these guys. There's a couple of guys that I can't, and I can actually arm wrestle with, but the rest of these guys, I let them work. And I see other clubs where you see that stronger guy, and he's pulling through these guys that are beginners, that are just raw. And I'm looking at it, I'm going, one wrong move, and it's like, why are you continuing to pull through these guys? They just pull right through them, and I'm just like, they'll never.
I feel like that's a mental. If you're not mentally prepared and strong and know where you are, not hey, I can beat this guy, and and you brag about how good you are. But if you've went out and you've traveled and you've pulled the best, and you kind of know where you are.
Yeah.
And if you're true to yourself and you know where you are, you don't have to beat everybody at practice to prove it.
Yeah.
I hardly ever beat somebody at practice. I'm always just working my weakest parts, whatever I think weak. If it's my hook, whatever it might be, I'll work that one nonstop. And I probably won't pull nobody past 10 o'clock or so. I rarely pin somebody, and that's only if they ask me to, which is usually Danny. Danny will always say, go ahead and pull through me.
Yeah.
But, Danny's probably the most, hell, I don't know, man. He just, what would the word be? Competitive.
He's amazing.
Person. Big. I mean, he's super competitive. He'll practice all day and pull a tournament tomorrow and arm wrestle all night the next night. And he just loves arm wrestling, and he'll go all out and practice tournaments. He'll go to the bar the night before and pull 2 or 3 hours, and then go pull a tournament the next day, and then go back to that bar that night, next night, and pull all night. He just loved doing it. And he's the oldest one on the team, but he seems like he's the youngest. He's got more energy than all of us.
Love Danny. One of my favorite Texas Polars, no question. Love watching all his matches and to see what he did. What was that, last year before, when he did, what was it, 5 weeks in a row or 7 weeks in a row of serious competitions, right?
Yeah,
went to
and
Hawaii.
he practiced in between.
Yeah.
But that messed him up too, though. I mean, because he went all over the world. He went to Hawaii, Puerto Rico. He went everywhere in that 6-week time, and he ended up getting like 3 different injuries. He tore some shit in 2 spots in his shoulder, I think, and a spot in his pec, and then he was super sick on Friday night. He was supposed to go pull what's his name?
Oh
shit, Ronnie Morales. He was supposed to go pull Ronnie Morales, and Daniel's number 1, and he agreed to go to Ronnie's backyard to pull Ronnie. And the night before, he's puking, just everything. And I told him, I said, Dane, don't go. Me and him and Anthony was all going to go too. I said, don't go. He goes, man, we already got the flights, and I already told him I'd go, and I just don't want to back out on him. I said, man, hell, you're puking nonstop here. So I ended up taking him over like some Gatorades and Pedialyte, stuff like that. But he shouldn't have done that, man. After being all that, plus all the injuries, he shouldn't have done all that. But you can't talk to him not pulling. He just don't matter. I mean, he ended up spending a bunch of money, trying to heal himself. He had all those where they take your blood and spin it and they reshoot it in, they try to make you heal faster. And he had all kind of things done to try to fix those injuries. And I believe he's healthy now, and he's just trying to get strong again, get his strength back up.
Awesome. And you have some other good teammates there with quite a few others, with Anthony Lowe and
Anthony's progressed really fast.
Yeah. What who do you see him pulling next?
I don't know. I think he's got. I want to say he's got something lined up. I just can't remember what it was. Anthony's a really hard guy to try to top row. I'll tell you. You try to go outside with him, and he's pretty damn solid out there.
Yeah.
No.
I feel bad for you guys. We got to get stronger. Us new guys got to get stronger. Y'all are sitting at the top, just getting all lazy because there's nobody here to come battle with you.
I'm going on 6 months or so without training right now. Just don't have. What are you going to do? A few tournaments in a row we was got ready for. We was training 3 nights a week for Worlds. They canceled Worlds. They canceled the Arnold Classic. Everything we was training for, they just canceled. So we just said, hell with it. Maybe we can maintain a little bit if we just practice, a couple of days a week. But it just kind of knocked the fire out of you every time you get ready for one, they'd cancel it. And then all of a sudden somebody would call you up, hey, can you go pull this match in 2 weeks? And you're thinking, well, shit. But I'll usually do it. I usually say, yeah, come on, go ahead, because I'm retarded, I guess.
Quite a few events coming up. You've got the March 13th event there with Anthony Lateriano. You've got with the Rage in the Cage in Fort Worth, right? Or Mesquite?
Fort Worth is where the Rage in the Cage is. I didn't know the date of it, though.
Yeah, March 13th is the date on that one. And then March 27th will be Waxahachie. I know they're going to do. Sorry?
So you might want to try to just attend that one. I'm not sure exactly. They haven't announced it yet, but there's those ramblings that with the seminar, there's going to be a few big name pullers there.
Yeah.
Well, I know the 13th and the 27th. I've already got commitments on things, and there's no way I can make arm wrestling tournament those 2 days. So I wouldn't make neither one of those.
Okay, well,
then April 17th will be the next one there in Garland.
Is that the one in Garland?
Yeah.
That's the one that Sarah McKinney's involved with. Is that right?
No. Well, she's involved with running that event. Are you talking about her upcoming super match with?
No. She had. I thought that's the one that she told me about. She's wanting me to get a match, and she asked me would I do a match for her at that tournament, because that was the first one she was involved with. And I know Sarah, her family, they're all really nice people. So I told her, I was interested to help her. She's like, who you want to pull? I said, I really don't know who I want to pull, but who am I going to pull? No names really come to mind, but I'm okay with trying to help somebody if they need it, though.
Sure. Yeah. Well, let us know. We'll see if we can't come up with some possibilities to.
Don't forget, we keep saying the 27th, but the Waxahachie, the big part of that event is on the 28th.
No, okay.
Day.
So they doing one of those seminar things the day before or something?
Well, they got the Saturday night is supposed to be the Weirdo Camera Guy Championships. So they have the camera guys, social media guys coming. They're gonna put on a little tournament amongst us, and then that's Saturday night, and then Sunday will be the tournament, which I think they're running Gary Roberts' ROTN format on that one, and the seminar along at simultaneously.
That used to be a big tournament back in the day.
Well, Gary's wanting to bring it back big time. So
I went to, I think, the last one they had in Kansas City. It was a who's who of arm wrestling there for sure.
Well, they just had that one Paul Lynn and them. They did the ROTN and for an overall, and said everybody seemed to enjoy it. So I think we're going to see that coming back probably. That's what Gary's mission is right now. So
I mean, at one time that was the biggest thing in arm wrestling was ROTN.
Might be coming back.
I mean, I only went to one, like I said, but it was just which I think the class maybe was 199 plus, I want to say.
Mm-hmm.
I want to say heavyweights was anything over 199. But yeah, all the classes was just crazy stacked when you went to one of those.
Yeah. Yeah, Gary's got some crazy ideas with that. I mean, he's wanting to do, random ones throughout the year, and then have a big one at the end of the year where he's got 500 to 1,000 pullers, and it takes like 3 days to get through it. It's crazy.
Well, I'd like to see them do random for sure. That was one thing about Wall I didn't like when they came to Dallas to do the solo regionals out here. They were talking about seeding the bracket. They said that ain't fair to have somebody like say Dave Shafee pull somebody like Michael Todd the first match. They said that ain't fair. You need to make this and that. And I was like, I understand what you're saying, but at the same time, I think that's bullshit. I think you should do a random draw throughout the whole tournament for everybody. Just because they're really good, because you're helping them out. If you put all the good guys on opposite brackets, well, they're going to be even fresher to get down to the finals. So you're making their day even easier and making everybody else's day even harder.
Yep.
Regardless of where I fall out there, I don't think it's fair to say, okay, I'm going to put you here, you here. I say just random draw it, all of it.
Yeah, for sure.
Mm.
It definitely looks less set up.
They had some crazy shit at that tournament. I had Wayne. We were talking about Wayne a minute ago. Wayne pulled one match and lost, I believe. Never pulled in a match the rest of the day. And we get down to the finals, and I had to pull 5 or 6 matches back to back to back without stopping. And they kept saying, "No, you're up again. No, you're up again." And I'm not a drinker at all. And I just reached over and grabbed somebody's beer and just took a drink of it. I was just dying over there. And when it was all said and done, I had pulled 2 out of those 5 or 6 matches in a row I pulled. Was a mistake. I wasn't even supposed to pull them.
Oh, geez.
They said, well, the girls on those iPads, it was sending it in to the main computer over there. Somebody was running that, doing the brackets, and they had issues with those iPads. And next thing you know, I'm pulling extra matches over and over and over. And it comes down to it, and I'm going for 4th and 5th. And I ended up getting 5th. I couldn't even move my arm anymore.
Yeah.
Well, they come up to me and they said, we messed up. Wayne Withers is still in this tournament. He's only got 1 loss. I said, well, why ain't he been pulled? And they said, well, we didn't have him down, and he didn't come up and tell us. I said, so what do you want to do now? Well, what do you think about giving him your spot? We'll give you the money that you're going to get for 5th, but give him your spot and you take 6th or 7th, and we'll let him pull somebody else. What do you think about that? And I said, well, how about you just do what the fuck you're supposed to do? And they just looked at me, and I was like, well, I'm just saying, how about you give me what I'm supposed to get and what place I'm supposed to get, and then you do something else. So, well, it was all said and done. They didn't ask me that question no more. But they told Wayne he could go ahead and go to, because I think it was top 8 make to Vegas. And they told Wayne he could go ahead and make it to Vegas. But yeah, they wanted to come up to me and wanted me to give my place up because they forgot to do something. I'm like, I'm pretty nice, but I'm not doing that.
Yeah.
That was in 2016, no, Robbie?
Somewhere in there, 16, 17. Yeah. But
Yeah.
it was always something going on. Everyone I ever went to that had a problem. We had some kind of issue. We went to one in New Orleans. I think it was a Southern Classic or something they called it. And I took second to Cataract that day. It was a really tough class. But they wanted you there at 9 a.m. We get there at 9 a.m. There's no chairs, no nothing. It's just in this big room, all concrete, everything. And you're just standing there all day and no chairs, because they said they don't want you sitting down on nothing because they want you standing up so it looks better for camera. Now, we got no food. They had some hot dogs over there if you want to go get you a hot dog. But that was it. No food, no nothing. And it was sponsored by Monster, so you could go get you a Monster drink if you wanted one. And I'm like, man, this is some bullshit, Big Sean Latimer, he had it out with them because he found a chair and sat down. They walked up, told him, you got to get up. Hell, he about woke 2 or 3 of them that day because they made him get up, and he was getting into it with them. But man, after that tournament lasted 7 o'clock or so at night, so 10 hours is standing there. I mean, it might not sound like that much, but when you're just standing there all day, back and forth arm wrestling, and no food, no nothing.
A long day.
I said, it's clear to show that they could give 2 shits about the pullers. It was all about themselves. And then they had all the paid actors come in, and, they're all standing around yelling and screaming, making faces, trying to blow it up and acting goofy. I just felt like it was corny as hell.
No, really.
It's funny. It's really funny you say that, because Gary Roberts just had a guy on a show. I can't remember the name. I have to go back and look at it. He was saying the same exact thing you're saying right now. How they had food for the extras that were in the crowd. They had water. They could, like, the pullers didn't have anything. They didn't have food. They didn't have water. They didn't have nothing.
If you have to go to the bathroom, if you're not there when they call you up, you get a loss. No, if you're in a big building, I don't know where the bathroom is, but you better piss fast, because if you got to go number 2, you just got lost. You might have wasted your whole trip.
Well, what was it like pulling Jerry Cataract?
Jerry's really strong guy. I like Jerry. With our style, I believe it could go either way. Like
Wow.
we've practice pulled, and I know practice pulls don't matter, but if he got where he wanted, it was him. If I got where I wanted, it was me. So I was one of those things. I felt like who got to their spot is what I think would be. And obviously, you'd give the edge to Jerry, but I mean, I think if I got to my spot, I'd be okay.
Have you ever pulled Devin?
No, not in tournament.
No. I know you've got a history with Travis there, and had a match at least with him. Or who else out there when you think of the top dogs in North America? Are you thinking of Richard Luke,
Well,
as you mentioned?
yeah, Richard he's so strong, you can't ever rule him out. And Travis is just so, that's a good word for it. Well, I had one thing I gotta give to Travis about it, and I've told him this before too. He's the best cheater I've ever seen in my life. Because not only can he cheat, that's simple, anybody can cheat, but he's mastered the art of it to where he can just totally cheat the shit out of you, and the referees will foul you for it. And he'll be over, you can see his old ass over there smirking and shit because he knows what he's doing. And he'll be doing it so bad, and you'll have the worst possible setup grip, and you're over here thinking, man, I couldn't beat a 2-year-old right now. And they'll be fouling you for it, and Travis be laughing about it. I mean, you just name it. So to be that good at cheating, I mean, I'm not bitching one bit. Hats off to him. He's just that skilled that he can cheat you so good that he can make your ass get fouled out for it. That's an art. Hell, man, that's just an art for him there. You don't like it because in my opinion, it's kind of bullshit. Like I feel like it makes it like you're scared, but another way, it's like, well, it's strategy. Without all his shenanigans, no, I don't think Travis can beat a lot of these guys. But when you add all his shit he does in there and all that stuff he does, he's subject to beat anybody.
Very, very, very technical, huh? In some ways, I suppose. How about Michael Todd? The first tournament that you pulled at, but tell me about pulling Michael. Not that was that when you pulled him.
I didn't pull Michael the first one because
no, but I mean,
I pulled it. Do what now?
Yeah, no, I didn't mean at that tournament. I just mean, tell me about your guys' relationship over the years.
Me and Michael, cool. We ain't never had no problems.
Yeah.
We've known each other the whole time. Like I said, my first tournament was his, and we've always been good. I ain't never had no issue with him. You
guys have pulled multiple times over the years, no?
Roddy, we haven't pulled since like 6-7 years probably. Whenever they done a thing over in which one is that, PAF whatever, Anthony, he had a tournament over here in Arlington area or Grand Prairie at a Harley Davidson deal, and Michael beat me that day. Outside of that pool, I think I pulled him one more time, and that was like 6-7 years ago. Outside of that, I think I pulled him in 07 or I don't know. It was way back in Nationals at Little Rock, and he beat me there. And we only pulled, I think, twice. I might be wrong, but I think we only pulled twice. But he's beat me whenever we pulled though.
Because so it's been a while. Because he used to run the Texas one of the Texas State events, right? If I'm not mistaken, Michael did.
He might have. I don't know. Maybe I don't remember him running Texas State, but maybe he did.
Might have been maybe a little bit before you were kind of getting into it. I know. Are you familiar? Timothy Kylan, Popeye. They used.
I know who he is.
Yeah. They used to run that event too, or be involved, I guess, or associated with one of the Texas.
Years ago, they had was it TAA or something like that? It was a Texas Arm Wrestling League or Texas Arm Wrestling Association, and they had their own organization, and they used to have a lot of Texas State tournaments in the Abilene Mall and Mesquite Mall, a lot of malls, and there used to be a lot of tournaments in Texas. They said just about every weekend there's a tournament somewhere in Texas.
Mhm.
But back then, I want to say Karen and Frank Bean was running it back when they lived here too.
They were the big dogs. Yeah.
They were running a lot of those tournaments. Yeah.
Didn't you pull Michael in the TAO kickoff? I believe you did.
When was that?
Our TAO kickoff, end of last year. Close to the
Oh, lefty. Yeah, no, lefty. He didn't pull right-handed.
Yeah, he couldn't pull right. Yeah, that's right. But you pull him left.
Dude, surprisingly, I was taking his hand every time. I was like, damn, I didn't think I could do anything with him lefty. I don't even arm wrestle left-handed. You know, I just went ahead and done it. I couldn't believe I'd done anything with him.
I mean, he's great. Don't get me wrong, but there is an obvious huge difference between his right and his left.
Oh yeah. Well, I mean, even though that, Michael's got a lot of big wins lefty though. I mean, he's winning overseas, picked lefty, and that's when he broke his arm. You know, one time.
Yeah.
Beating overseas lefty. And so I mean, his left is by all means way more known than my left is.
Well, sure.
But I was just surprised I could do anything at all with it, you know, because I'm not a lefty whatsoever.
Not many of us are.
Right. Nobody cares about lefties. I'm just kidding.
And I don't look at myself. I've never looked at myself as being nothing special. So like the other night when Dustin was talking about a lot of the new pullers are looking up and this and that, and I'm like, what? Because I've never considered myself one of those guys. You know, when they say so and so is going to be there, it's going to be a hard tournament. I still say all the tough guys. You know, and everybody looks at me and goes, "You're forgetting yourself." I'm like, well, I don't even consider myself part of any. You know, I don't know. I mean, I'm 100% not arrogant about nothing, and I still get amazed when someone says something like, they know who I am or something like that. You know, I'm like, how the hell they know who I am? You know.
Well, all you is if I stay in the super heavyweights, I hope you and Brian sit and retire before I get up there.
I'm not saying in stickers anyways, but Brian kept telling me I'm dropping, but last time I saw his big ass, he ain't dropping. He kept saying he was, but he ain't dropping.
What are you at right now?
I've been 270 for the last, I guess, 4 or 5 months. I dropped 40 pounds right before that match with Dimitri, and I've maintained it. You know, just even though I'm not training, I've just been eating good.
Yeah.
A phenomenal match that was, coming from, you know, a sort of newly refreshed fan of the sport, so to speak. Just a great match up between you two. That was awesome to watch. You guys are very talented athletes for sure.
I was surprised. I mean, because the last time I had pulled him, I didn't have no issues with him at all. You know, we had a match in Austin, and I didn't have no issues with him, and I knew how he pulled and all that. But you know, last time I pulled him, I was a lot bigger and all that training and all that stuff. So when I walked in there and I felt him, I was like, damn, you know, either I've lost a lot or he's gained a lot, one of the two, because it didn't feel like the last time I pulled his ass, you know. But he's a very difficult person to set up with, you know, the way he sets up. He's constantly rising. You know, he's always like, you can't even see your thumb hardly. I mean, he's so high in his grip. And he's constantly doing this up pressure stuff, you know, and he's got long arms. So when he's doing all that posting, and it's just kind of awkward to get a hold of his hand. Even if you're inside, you're not really inside. He's on your fingers, you know.
Oh, yeah.
But super good guy. Damn sure ain't got nothing bad to say about Dimitri. I like him.
Yeah. Amen. Amen.
I think I remember you talking about your hand blowing up real early in that.
Well, I've had that to happen maybe 3 or 4 times since I've been arm wrestling. I done it once in Florida about 3 years ago. We went to that PAF finals, and my first match was against Latimer, and I just flashed him. Well, we had to go to strap because I couldn't hold on to shit. His hand, so he got the biggest damn hand, man. And I had to slip just so I could go to the strap to hold on to him. But I beat him pretty easy in the strap. And even though I beat him pretty easy, my hand blew up and I was just stuck. I couldn't move nothing. My arm was blown, and I performed poorly after that match. And then Sean comes back and wins the whole thing in the loser bracket. But whatever that was, that first match with Dimitri, he quits pulling. We went inside and he just gives up and I pinned him. It looked relatively easy. And my hand just blown up. Only thing I can think of is maybe it's the lack of training. Because like I said, at that point, I've been probably 2 or 3 months out of the gym. I hadn't been training. I made that 40-pound weight cut. I don't know what it is. If it was one of those things or hell, I just, whatever. Bottom line, I lost, but I don't know what caused that to do that.
And do you have like a specific thing you do before matches? Like, do you eat a certain way or do you not eat or?
No, I usually try to carb load, right before, but we didn't have much time. We don't have like a 2 or 3 week notice of that match.
Yeah. Well, I've heard sometimes before, like I've heard some guys say that if they eat a heavy carb meal, prior, like within relatively close distance of the match, I'm talking about like same day, that they get blown up like that. Something with that high carb food and everything like that, it blows up.
What hurts me about most tournaments is I don't eat. I'm not an early eater. I usually won't eat till late in the evening. There's sometimes it'll be 7 o'clock at night and I haven't eaten, drank nothing that day. And I'll eat whatever after that. And, for me to wake up at 8 o'clock in the morning and make myself go eat because I'm about to go do something, competitive like that, it's really, it changes everything up for me. I'm not real big on getting up at 7, 8 o'clock, and I damn sure ain't big on eating. I don't even like breakfast food, and now I've got to get up and you go anywhere you go, it's always bacon and eggs and stuff like that. And, I ate a bunch of bacon and eggs. I feel like going to bed. I don't even feel like doing nothing.
Yeah.
I gotta kind of force myself to eat something that's not gonna be too bad on me. Maybe find somewhere, got a grilled chicken sandwich or something, and just try something different.
Well, Robbie, I know like you say, you're being humble, but we definitely enjoy watching your matches, and we're grateful to your teammates for kind of helping keep you lassoed in, so we still get to see some of your good matches. I know you have a very solid fan base in the state of Texas, and
I didn't know I had one, but that's nice to know.
Yeah.
I'm about to lose this teammate because I was supposed to left about 20 minutes ago.
I was just thinking, and that's why I was trying to kind of get around to a bit of a closing here. I know we're keeping you way past what you said you could. We appreciate you kind of coming on and talking a little bit about your career. And we didn't even get a chance yet to kind of mention, some of our sponsors, but of course, Combat Armor Sports, Top Shelf Dragons, and the list goes on. We'll continue that at another time. I don't want to hold you up anymore, but
we'll do a
really,
number 2.
Yeah, we got to do a part 2. Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, just let me know.
Absolutely, we'll get over there and get some practice in, and tell Danny we're going to be looking for him.
Ah, man, appreciate y'all. Guys, just let me know when y'all want to do some more.
All right,
thanks, Robbie. You the man.
Y'all have a good night.
See you.